I believe you were going to frame a scene, Raiden.
Yep.
Okay.
So I think it's inside the city of the Drow. You see like a little Drow kid. He looks like maybe an 8-year-old, and he's like in a market. He's like sneaking around, and he grabs like a mushroom or something off like a vendor, and he like starts running away, and the vendor begins to chase him, like shouting at and screaming at him, and the kid like takes a turn into an alley, and then he like looks, and it's a one-way alley. He's like trapped there now, and this drow man, like comes up and starts backing him into the corner, and then all of a sudden you see like the man like have this shock on his face, and then notice blood starts pouring out from his chest, and he like falls down. And the kid sees a drow woman behind him, and he realizes it's his mother, and he like runs up and like hugs her. He's like crying, and then she begins to scold him and telling him that if they ever find us, we'll both be dead. And that's it.
How long ago was this?
160-ish years ago.
And if it's not too much, if you don't want to answer this, that's fine. But what location did this happen in?
In the Drow city of Sindem. Sindem.
Is this the same one that we were thinking about going to, or is this a different Drow city?
Same place. And I think you'll notice that he's wearing a cloak, and the clasp for the cloak is a house symbol, like insignia for one of the Drow houses.
To me, it would just look like a symbol.
Yeah.
Was this the cloak that you were wearing? The cloak you were wearing in the vision, or in the like scene, or are you always wearing this cloak?
I think he's always wearing it. Like it looked big for him when he was a kid.
Teshik, Elgin, you guys would notice that the insignia on Zarbin's cloak is. Give me one second. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so did the map come up again?
Yep.
Yeah.
So above where it says the Dinafalica rap call, there's like a weird like symbol. That is the symbol. That is the same symbol that is on Raiden's cloak. Raiden.
I see.
So the question.
If so, we wake up the next day.
Yep.
Was Raiden able to find a gnome to have relations with?
Make a charisma check.
Do that. Actually, persuasion. I'll do that. Ah,
I think the question is, are you willing to shell out money and pay double?
how much is double?
If you have to
I don't
ask, you
know.
can't afford.
Yep. So a lonesome night.
Hey, I'll just think about
The-
Elden. And moving that
Creepy.
heavy table.
Anyways, the next morning, moving on. Um, yeah. So bright and early, Michael, there is a knock on your door. You open the door and you recognize it. It is the son of Vix, Denon Vix. What I forget. I'd have to look at his name, but it's his son. His name is Sonelvix.
Hmm.
Clever, right? Hello,
Yeah.
I'm Sonelvix.
Hmm.
You two know. You two are acquaintances. I believe that we are venturing off today. Yes. And he has like a pack with him and like a short sword.
Did you bring the payment?
Payment. I believe you are indebted to my father, and because of work he has done for you in the past. And he looks down at your bracer, and then he looks back up at you, and he smiles.
At whose bracer?
Michael's.
Okay.
Well, it's actually a glove.
Oh, glove. Okay.
I was about to say, like,
He looks down at your glove.
Are you sure? We spoke to him yesterday about payment.
As far as I know, my father said that you were doing it out of payment to him for what he has done for you. Yes?
Mm. Fine, fine.
And he smiles and he pats you on the back. So, you covering my rations as we travel, mate? I'm
Yeah.
joking, I'm joking. And he pokes you repeatedly.
I'll like rub his head vigorously.
Ah, thank you. We're bonding. Now let's go.
I
If you would like to come back to my room, I could think of another way to bond.
No, 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 no. Let us be gone.
Oh, you're not so friendly anymore, are we?
No, I'm not. I'm a pretty closed down and reserved kind of guy. Now let's be going, please.
Very
I would
well.
have woken up early to go and retrieve our dear companion Ox.
Oh yeah. Ox seems to have been fed very well by the stable master in Open Foliox. You know the stables in Open Foliox? They are filled with riding lizards. And they kind of keep it separate from Ox because they're afraid that the lizards will eat Ox.
Well, that would have been a terrible shame. I
Yes.
bring Ox back up and uh, pass Ox off to Teshik. I'm like, well, at least we've got the donkey.
Teshik is a bit quiet, but yeah, he says, yeah, at least we have Ox.
Ox is ox.
Ox groans. If you had speak with animals cast, it'd be saying ox is ox.
Yeah, fucking.
I think we've heard him say enough that we know what he means when he does that noise.
I think.
Yeah.
Well, Teshik would. The rest of us are just like this fucking donkey makes donkey noises, or I guess just me at this point. So yeah, we head off towards the old hole or passage, not to be
Yes.
confused
So
with what I assume is the geriatric brothel.
So it is this, like, right in here. And whenever you come, you notice there is a, hang on. You notice there are 7 men clad in robes. And they're waiting with the king and also Gaggleton. Whenever you approach, the Gaggleton speaks up and he says, "I'm sorry, but if you wish to pass through this, there must be a silent spell cast or a spell that will take away your ability to hear for several minutes. There are command words that unlock each gate, and the command word is only known by one individual. Our wizards here will deafen all of us, and each of the 7 wizards know one of the command words. And as we pass through, when we approach the gate that the one wizard is responsible for, he will unlock it, we'll pass through, the next one will unlock it, etc., etc., etc."
Oh, while he's talking about that, Rodden's gonna like try to, while they're speaking, to shift to the back of the group so he's behind like Elgin and Teshik, and he's going to let Stray, his flying snake, like leave, and it's gonna like fly up. And as it's doing, he's gonna try to cast Bee Sense on it without them noticing.
What does Beast Sense do?
Allows me to see and hear from my companion.
Okay, what's the components for it?
Let's see. S. What is S?
Somatic, that's hand movements. Or gesticulation
So,
of some kind.
I'd let you make a sleight of hand check. All 7 of the wizards, the king, the Gaggleton, and your 2 adventuring partners will all get perception checks that go against your sleight of hand check.
He'll do it. He'll see what he can get away with these people.
Okay, make your sleight of hand check.
Come on, natural 20. 19. Oh, yeah.
Mm.
The roll command in roll 20, is it R/ or /R?
/R.
Okay, unrecognized command. Let's just roll it. Okay, so all of them seem pretty dumbfounded and not paying attention. One of the wizards notice you, like, hey, 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 over here, over here. He's casting a spell. He's casting a spell. All 7 of the wizards and Gaggleton and the king turn towards you. And they all stare at you with firm grins.
Yes. So if I understand this correctly, y'all can cast spells, but not me. Fair enough.
Give me 1 second. I need to check one thing.
You know if you can actually do.
Make me a save verse spell 7 times. All 7 of the wizards begin casting a spell.
What save does he have to make? Like a wisdom, charisma, int.
Let me check. I believe an intelligence check. Let me skim through this. Yeah, give me an intelligence check.
$12.
Wait a minute. Are drow immune to sleep magic?
Yeah.
Yeah, all elves are.
Okay. Okay, never mind. No spell.
Can I fake like it put
The
me to sleep if I know it's trying to put me to sleep?
no, no. They don't go through with that. They look to the party and they're like, well, we're going to wait an hour before we move on with this. We don't know what he just cast.
Oh, this is a simple fix. Allow me, and I just punch him in the chest very hard.
Oh.
Are you attempting to knock him out?
No, it's
Oh,
like
you just okay.
one punch. I think what is it? It's like one non-lethal damage, right?
Okay, okay, yeah. You punch him in the chest.
Okay, so now he has to make a DC concentration, a DC 10 concentration check.
Oh, he stopped
Oh,
he stopped using the spell. Okay. Ow.
Okay, so they see that you've backed off on the spell. The drow hesitate, and then they begin to cast a spell. To all 7 of them begin to cast a spell to deafen the entire party, deafen even themselves, and the king and Gaggleton. Is there anyone that wishes to resist this?
no, I'm just ready to be out of here at this point.
They cast their spells. Everyone goes silent. And then in silence, a wizard steps forward, speaks a word, and the gate opens and they proceed forward. Another one speaks another, a gate opens, another one speaks another, gate opens, until eventually you guys are beyond the last wall. The wizards and the king and Gaggleton, they bid you farewell and they turn and they head off. And you guys are in the Underdark Wilderness.
Oh, bro, just so you know, for like my ranger stuff, because my favorite terrain is Underdark.
Okay.
After traveling for an hour in the terrain, difficult terrain doesn't slow the group. I can do activities and still remain alert to danger. If I'm traveling alone, I can move faster while being stealthy. I get twice as much food as a normal person would. And when I'm tracking creatures, I know that like their exact number, their size, how long ago it's been since they passed.
Okay. You guys progress and you travel the chasms of the Underdark. You travel until you're exhausted and you're tired, and it's time to set up camp.
Yeah,
While they're setting up camp, I'll just Ryden will go around and scavenge some food.
Okay. You guys set up camp. Food has been scavenged. And who's going to be doing first watch?
I'll take the last part because I only need to sleep 4 hours.
Okay.
I'll take first watch then. All right. Yeah, but before we end up going to sleep, I just kind of like whenever we're all sitting around, I'd look at everybody else and go, if there's 7 doors and 7 code words, what happens if one of the wizards dies? if each wizard only knows one word.
Mm. That's a good point.
Maybe
I'm
they
sure they
have
have
safety
backups.
precautions in place.
It's just like one of those things. Kind of look at all the others. I'm like, yeah, never mind. It's seems like an odd way to secure the place. Anyway, you two or three little gnome, you all go get some sleep. I'll just sit up and watch.
Don't worry, Straya will stay awake with you. She's a good girl.
Just look at the snake, and I'm like, you can keep your snake. It's okay.
I'm just saying she'll be awake while I'm sleeping.
Okay.
Someone want to make a D100 roll for me and tell me what you roll?
59.
Ooh.
Okay. And does anyone wish to frame any scene during long rest period?
Yeah. When everybody goes to sleep, Elgin would kind of he'd take a period of time to just kneel down and pray to Core. And as he's doing so, he just kind of actually breaks down a little bit and starts to cry a bit at how he thought he was too weak to avenge his friend and the loss of his one of his few friends that he's had in this world. He just kind of sits there and just silently kind of reflects on how he wasn't as strong as he thought he was.
So, before we get into questions on that, I've been working a little bit on. I meant to make this information available, but I haven't yet. But I've been working a little bit on fleshing out just different details of the different main gods and their faith in the world. Um, and on Core and Core, some of the material that I've written out. When a priest of Core and Core loses someone, and they feel like the loss or maybe the ability to avenge the loss is hindered or influenced by maybe their own weakness or not being good enough. In order to purge that weakness, the priests often they take to the forge. It's said that a priest of Korencore could never have touched a forge in his entire life, but in this time of weakness, in this time of mourning, there are forges within every temple of Korencore in honor of the fallen. They begin really just kind of pouring themselves into that forge. And it's really a type of prayer and communication with core and core. And it's really like a personal experience, I guess you would say, to purge their weakness and also honor the fallen. Um, and once it is completed, it's said that the weapon or whatever was crafted is of the finest quality. And then that weapon is not then taken out on combat, but it is instead hung on the walls inside the temple where it was forged in honor of the fallen. So I would imagine as you're breaking down to core and core, like you're longing to be in the temple and at one of these forges. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
And I'll make that information available and what else and all the other things I have right now too.
Okay.
But yeah. Was there any questions?
Is this the first time that Elgin's cried for the loss of another person?
Yes.
And is it weird for Elgin to cry and having a snake stare at him while he's doing it?
I don't think he's paying attention to the snake. It's kind of like if you've ever been doing something and your dog just walks up to you. Like, I'd assume if the snake actually like slithered up to Elgin while he was like kind of having his manly tear moment, and he'd like kind of try to like bat the snake away, like not now, snake.
Okay. So the next day comes about. You guys travel throughout the Underdark again. You feel like with your new party member leading the way, you feel like things are moving at a much quicker pace. You guys travel until you're exhausted and you can't travel anymore, and it comes time for another camp. Someone want to roll a D100?
I'll do it.
Yeah, all right.
72.
72. Okay. All of the watches go by peacefully. The next day, you guys wake up at the sound of a herd of cockatrice running by. They quickly scamper by, and you guys seek to interact with them. They scamper by harmlessly.
No, I'd just kind of ask Ryden. I'm like, what the fuck are those?
He's looking kind of scared, like his eyes are really open, and he's just like shaking his head. You do not want to see what they can do.
It's kind of what I figured. Seems to be about how everything down here goes.
In the Drow city of Sindem, they would grind up the bones of the cockatrice for let's just say for erotic purposes.
Just kind of like a confused look on Elchin's face, and he just like looks away from Ryden, like just looking to anybody else to interact with at this point.
So I think the day progresses.
Yep.
The day progresses, and as you travel through the Underdark, you begin to see a light in the distance. And as you approach the light, it takes a few hours to get to where the light is coming from. And you step out. You step out onto land. Roll me a D24. I know there's no such dice, but roll me a D24.
That's the great thing about Roll20. You can roll any dice you want.
We have the power.
Teshik?
Sure.
I do have a D30 though. Could use that in real life.
8. Okay. So time kind of gets lost in the Underdark, but Teshik, you're familiar with the suns and the moons, and you can tell by the sky what time of day it is. You gauge it's about 6 in the morning. You come out and there's like you come out onto like somewhere's out in these giant chasms. Exactly where? You don't know.
Is it always so bright? Oh,
Yeah,
goodness.
I just kind of I have to like take a couple of minutes to let my eyes adjust to, as I haven't been seeing anything except for like dim light and like torchlight. Just uh, once Elgin's eyes adjust, he just looks around and he's like, "Where the fuck are we?"
Ryden kind of just like stares at y'all expectantly. You can also see like he's in like actual pain, almost like he has a migraine or something.
The drow with you that's been like super quiet, or not the drow, but the gnome that's with you's like super quiet, shielding his eyes.
So, Teshik, assume you've maybe roamed these
Not
lands.
that I will though.
I've
Yes, I will.
been to many places. I'd have to get up on the mountains to see where we are, though. I can't tell mountains from mountains. I'm not that good per se.
Well, perfect. I guess we start heading towards a mountain.
Actually, what I'll do is I'll touch Stray in my hand. I'll cast Bee Sense again,
Okay.
and then I'll tell her just to fly up as high as she can and scan the area.
Okay.
And I'll see if I notice any cities nearby or any sort of civilized area.
So trying to think how to do this. Okay, so it flies up, and it appears that the area you are in is kind of all like a bit elevated. It appears that it kind of levels out the closest to the east.
Okay, after he gets a decent sense of the land, he'll break the spell and then he'll do a whistle and Stray will fly back to him.
What was that again? I'm sorry.
He'll break the concentration of the spell and he will whistle and Stray will come back to him.
Okay. Stray
Uh,
comes back.
From what I could see, we should travel towards the east. It becomes a lot more level that way.
I just look over to Teshik. Like, does that sound reasonable to you?
Sure.
Okay. Just kind of not trying to diminish or trying to keep the fact that I've never like this is my first adventure outside of the city in my entire life, so I have no idea where the fuck I am or how to
Okay.
wilderness.
Um, you guys travel. You guys travel through the day. You've been going east, and it feels like it's pretty steadily been kind of descending down a bit. It's getting a little bit later. The sun's beginning to set. And it's getting close to time to set up camp. It's not exactly at that point yet, but as you are traveling, you guys hear a screech in the sky. And you turn, and when you turn, you see in the sky, flying above you, approaching your guys' directions. You see two pretty massive creatures flying your way. They appear black as night. They appear to be some type of descendant of dragons. Teshik, make me a knowledge check with advantage.
Knowledge check with advantage. Doink. 17.
Okay, Teshik, you remember tales of within the chasm. Maybe like 50 years ago, there were two druidic tribes that were always kind of like rival tribes. And they kind of served as protectors over two different kind of clans of wyverns, descendants of dragons, one of black scale and one of silver scale. No one really knows what happens to the two druidic tribes, but they kind of fell off the map. But it's said that a remnant of the wyverns still exists to this day. You see these two black wyverns flying your way.
Mm.
And on that note, we are going to take a break.